I was outside the wall, so I'm telling you, it's not easy to be where I'm at now. But
you got past the moat with the alligators.
Yes, man, and that's not easy. I've been through it all in this game, from being blackballed, talked about, said I couldn't rap, said I couldn't do this and shit like that, and I never let nothing discourage me because I know what I wanted to do and where I needed to go. Plus, I knew that there was nowhere else in this world that I could figure out how to make $1 like this game.
Said that, there's nothing that this shit could show me that I ain't seen a million times, man. And sometimes you just gotta run through it, man. Fuck what people say. Embrace failure. And 2, 3, 4 losses that I had, that shit gave me the fire to come back and learned a lot about me. You have to learn from your failures and stay consistent. That's it. When people know what know to look for you because you're constantly doing it, that's when you win. And that's what I'm all about, man.
50 Cent just dropped a bomb saying he'd straight up purchased the Jim Jones and Mano podcast, and that declaration switched up the whole energy immediately. It wasn't some throwaway joke, wasn't sarcasm, and definitely wasn't just another one of his regular quick jabs. Nah, this was a pure power move, a massive flex about cash, influence, and who really runs things. And that's precisely why it exploded when Camron jumped in with his take. It added a whole extra dimension. Because Cam ain't just some random commentator. He's wired into Dipset's entire backstory, personally connected to Jim Jones, and remembers exactly how partnerships in this game form and crumble. This situation blew up way past a basic exchange and started hitting sensitive spots. It morphed into a genuine discussion about honor, ego, who owns what, and how wild public drama should get when real money enters the picture. 50 Cent has always understood how to turn talk into real pressure. By claiming he'd purchased their podcast, he wasn't simply discussing purchasing a show. He was discussing taking over the whole dialogue, the outlet, and who controls the story. In hip-hop, where doing your own thing gets worn like armor, that type of declaration hits differently. It broadcasts that whatever somebody constructed with effort and dedication can still get purchased, snatched, or dominated if somebody's pocket's deep enough.
Go watch a special called The Levees Broke that Spike Lee did. Go watch a bunch of shit to understand this is not just some, Katrina happened, nigga said, nah, nigga, my city is gone, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So your request was not uncalled for, even though you got an advance. It was a catastrophic situation that happened. And
Cam, big brother, that's how I felt about it. I was like, say, bro, you just gave me an advance, but this situation, I just not to soften it up, but I don't think he understood the detrimental situation of Katrina at the moment. You dig? Because when I told him to help me, he basically told me to get on the road. He was like, you better get on the road. Like, get on the road? I ain't got no home to go to.
Yeah. Where am I going?
That's exactly why the blowback was so intense and why Cam's take actually counted. Camron's response didn't stem from being surprised at all. It came from living through the game. He's been grinding long enough to recognize when something's said for entertainment versus when it's meant to push boundaries. His vibe sounded like somebody who completely gets how 50 moves and how his plays typically unfold. Cam didn't jump straight to throwing shots or going crazy. Nah, he came back with a blend of skepticism, comedy, and a low-key heads up. That mix proved he understood this wasn't just content or clickbait, it was a message, straight up. When somebody like 50 drops a statement like that, it makes everyone attached think about what's coming next. Jim Jones and Mano constructed their podcast as a zone where they could talk raw, discuss culture, and drop opinions with no censorship, whether folks rock with them or not. The platform stands for their perspectives, their autonomy. 50's remark threatened that whole concept, even if he never actually meant to buy it. The statement by itself challenged their freedom, and that's why people viewed it as straight disrespect. In hip-hop, honor ain't about what you say, it's about allowing people to stand firm on what they created. Camron's got legitimate history with 50 stretching back years. There have been tense moments, periods of separation, and times when both camps kept their mouths shut. That background made Cam's response land harder because he wasn't reacting like some fan or outsider. He responded like somebody who knows the characters involved and gets how quickly situations can spiral. His response suggested he viewed the move as unnecessary escalation, even though he grasped why 50 did it. This whole thing also demonstrates how social platforms have transformed beef in hip-hop. Disagreements used to stay private or get aired through tracks. Now they blast out live through interviews, posts, and replies. 50 Cent has completely dominated this arena and knows how to plant himself dead center in every conversation.
I'ma say this, man. Beefing with 50 is good business. Numbers is up, podcast is up, engagement is up. Beefing with 50, I wish I would have known this a long time ago. We could go a couple more rounds.
No way.
100%. But he said he wanted to buy half the podcast. Now I'm saying if you want to buy half the podcast, I'm the person you need to see about that. I'm the guy you got to see about that.
I mean, do you think he was being like facetious or was he?
He say he don't cap. He say he don't cap. So I should be receiving a phone call, right? Saying, yo, what's up with this podcast? Beefing with 50, beefing with Curtis, it's good business.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, we not making our podcast not going. We don't talk about people. We take things and internalize it. But at the same time, I'm not trying to walk nothing down. Like if it's smoke, it's smoke.
All right, man.
If you shooting and you saying they and these guys and you got a picture and I'm in a picture, I'm shooting back and it's with whoever. Okay. It's with whoever, whenever, however.
We know.
Whatever.
We know.
Capo. Yeah. We out here squatting.
For real.
Jim Jones and Mano, by discussing him, stepped into that battlefield whether they intended to or not. Once that goes down, a clapback is inevitable, and the issue is that 50 never responds soft. Camron's response proved he caught that whole dynamic. He didn't treat this like harmless chatter. He understood that once cash and ownership get brought up, the temperature spikes quick. At that point, it quits being about views and becomes a power play. In hip-hop culture, declaring "I can purchase what you constructed" gets seen as one of the ultimate forms of disrespect. It doesn't just challenge achievement, it challenges worth simultaneously. That's why the remark struck such a raw nerve. Some folks think 50's move was justified and even predictable. They claim that Jim Jones and Mano spoke on him first, criticized his moves, and doubted his intentions. From that perspective, 50 firing back with intensity matches who he's consistently been, because he's never been somebody to stay silent when his name gets mentioned. His remark wasn't bullying, it was a reminder that talking carries repercussions. Camron's response didn't completely pick a lane, and that's what made it so compelling. He didn't gas up 50, but he also didn't fully dismiss him. Instead, he highlighted how crazy this declaration was and how it instantly switched the temperature. That response felt more thoughtful than knee-jerk. It seemed like Cam was checking the whole landscape, not just the immediate moment. He was analyzing the room, the backstory, and the potential consequences all simultaneously. This scenario also brought back old discussions about Dipset brotherhood and lasting fractures within the squad. Whenever Jim Jones gets wrapped up in public beef, those ancient tales come back up. Camron responding yanked that history straight back to the forefront and reminded folks that nothing in hip-hop stands alone. Every remark connects to years of shared experiences, beefs, and unfinished business. The concept of purchasing somebody's podcast hit a nerve too, because podcasts have evolved into one of the final spaces where artists genuinely control their own narrative. Record labels, deals, and platforms have always restricted expression, but podcasts feel separate. They feel intimate, unfiltered, and self-controlled. When that territory gets threatened, it feels like an assault on identity itself. Camron obviously caught that, which is why his response held genuine significance. There's also the debate about whether 50 ever actually meant to buy the podcast. Some folks view it as pure flexing, a statement designed to own the moment and steer the dialogue. Others think that even if he never planned on going through with it, just announcing it was sufficient to cross boundaries. In hip-hop, what you meant matters less than what happened, and what happened here was clear. It flipped the script fast and forced everyone connected to respond. Camron's response worked like hitting pause, slowing everything down just enough for people to process instead of diving straight into disses and mayhem. His response brought context and perspective. It reminded viewers this ain't just internet beef or a trending clip. These are actual people with actual history, actual pride, and long memories that don't disappear quick.
I want to rent it. And I said, okay, fine, right? He's been saying this for since October.
And so he keeps trying to build it, but he won't sign the lease. He's like, I don't like these terms. I want like 6 months of build out and ridiculous bullshit. We also have a partnership agreement where half of what he's building now, his media, belongs to us. But he won't tell us how much he's making and doing all these things. So half of the content he's creating, if you want to buy that too, I'll sell you half the company. He's not a business. He's like insane. To me, it's worth very little to nothing. But if it works out for you, I just throw that in as a sweetener. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is he signed a lease with me. Right now he owes, I'm going to say it in a short way, at least $80,000, if not $180,000. The monthly rent on the old lease, not this.
The social media friction between 50 Cent, Jim Jones, and Mano demonstrates how rapidly situations can blow up when pride, dollars, and public outlets crash together. What kicked off as commentary transformed into dominance declarations. Camron entering didn't stop the beef, but it reframed it and made people view the scenario through a different lens. For Jim Jones, the remark tested his standing as a boss and a creator. For Mano, it questioned his position and importance. And for 50, it reinforced precisely who he's consistently been. In situations like this, it strengthened 50's reputation as somebody who never retreats and will weaponize money. Camron's reaction emphasized all of that without him needing to spell it out. He allowed the moment to communicate for itself, and that made it strike even deeper. This moment also brought up larger questions about solidarity in hip-hop. Instead of discussions building understanding, they frequently transform into separation. Every remark becomes a power check, and Camron's reaction hinted at genuine exhaustion with that pattern, even though he completely understands how it operates. At the core, this scenario is about way more than a podcast. It's about ego, influence, and the boundaries people violate when they feel tested. For some, 50 violated boundaries. For others, he simply established a needed limit. Camron's response demonstrated that even people closest to the drama can recognize multiple perspectives. Now the discussion transfers to the watchers. People observing got to determine how they feel about it. Was 50 out of line for claiming he'd purchased the podcast, or was that just his method of responding to hate? Was Camron correct to intervene, or should he have minded his business? These questions don't have simple solutions. What's obvious is that this moment will get remembered not for insults, but for what it symbolized. Ownership battling voice, cash battling pride, quiet battling response. Camron's reaction grabbed that friction and made it impossible to ignore. As the discussion keeps rolling, it's important to look past choosing teams and concentrate on significance. This is how hip-hop debates develop now: public, noisy, and complex. The scenario between 50 Cent, Jim Jones, Mano, and Camron is bigger than drama. It mirrors where the culture exists and where it might head tomorrow. The replies, reactions, and arguments that followed will determine how this moment gets recalled. Whether people dismiss it or take it seriously, the effect is already cemented. Camron responding guaranteed it wouldn't get brushed off as just another web moment. It transformed into something deserving discussion, consideration, and argument well after the words got spoken. That's why this scenario counts, and why Camron's response brought layers to a moment that could have easily gotten written off as background noise. Digging deeper, this also reveals how much reputation still carries weight, even in times where attention feels like the primary asset. 50 Cent has built a reputation where people anticipate him to hit hard and do it visibly. That reputation adds gravity to his words before anyone even reacts. When he discusses purchasing a platform, people don't interpret it as a throwaway remark. They interpret it through the filter of everything he's accomplished previously, and that's what made this moment land the way it did. They interpret it through years of prior actions, business maneuvers, and public wars. Camron grasped that immediately, which is why his reaction seemed composed instead of startled. He recognized the significance behind the words before anyone else even analyzed it. Reputation operates the same method for Jim Jones and Mano. Both have invested years establishing territory where they're viewed as valued voices, not just artists coasting off ancient glory. Their podcast represents that reputation. It symbolizes evolution, relevance, and authority over their own narrative. A declaration like 50's endangers that reputation, even if nothing ever materializes after. Camron responding demonstrated consciousness of how delicate reputation can turn once it's tested publicly. One remark can destabilize years of grinding. This moment also confirms how personal backstory never genuinely stays buried. Dipset backstory, old conflicts, and extended rivalries all lurk beneath the surface until something like this drags them back up. Camron's reaction held all that baggage without needing to explain it. That's something only somebody who experienced those moments could execute. There's also a teaching here about quiet versus clapback. In numerous situations, quiet gets interpreted as vulnerability, but Camron proved that a measured response can strike harder than a loud reaction. He spoke just sufficient to frame the moment without allowing it to explode uncontrollably. That decision probably prevented the scenario from getting nastier than it already was. Instead of adding fuel, he established limits with language. The crowd plays a massive role in situations like this too. Supporters boost tension, pick sides, and promote narratives. Some crave chaos, others crave understanding. And Camron's reaction handed the people seeking understanding something concrete to latch onto. It decelerated the sprint towards extremes and reminded everybody that context genuinely matters. Not every remark needs to escalate into complete warfare when somebody steps back and recalibrates it. Another crucial element is how business discussion transforms the emotional atmosphere of beef. Insults can vanish and jokes can be dismissed, but once cash gets referenced, everything becomes serious. Purchasing something indicates control, control indicates power, and power alters relationships. Camron spotted that transition immediately, which is why he handled the remark differently than a standard diss. This also reveals how artists currently gotta protect more than just their reputation. They gotta protect platforms, collaborations, and extended strategies too. Jim Jones and Mano aren't just protecting their ego, they're protecting a venture they built. Camron's reaction demonstrated appreciation for that truth and clarified he grasped what was genuinely on the line in that moment. Simultaneously, 50's strategy mirrors how he views power functioning. From his angle, dominance blocks challenges. Responding gentle encourages more discussion, while responding aggressive terminates things. Whether people agree or not, that philosophy has molded his whole career. Camron's reaction didn't reject that reasoning, but it also didn't validate it. He recognized it without completely supporting it, and that equilibrium is what made his response stand out. This scenario also reveals how quickly entertainment can morph into genuine strain. What begins as material can rapidly become personal. Stress, public scrutiny, constant criticism, and endless reactions make every word feel weightier. Camron, responding with restraint, demonstrated he comprehends that pressure. As the discussion keeps progressing, people will keep revisiting this moment because it presents genuine inquiries. Who possesses the dialogue? Who manages the territory? How should influence get utilized? Those inquiries extend past the individuals attached and impact the culture as a totality. This moment also reveals how power gets evaluated differently now than it was years back. It used to originate from smash records, street credibility, or label authority. Currently, power also originates from platforms, crowds, and the capacity to mold discussion digitally. When 50 referenced purchasing the podcast, he was connecting straight into that contemporary form of power. He was reminding everybody that exposure and scope can get possessed, just like music rights and ventures. Camron's reaction demonstrated he distinctly comprehends that transformation, which is why he didn't dismiss it as hollow discussion or a throwaway remark. Cam has consistently appreciated ownership and authority over his craft. Throughout his journey, he's discussed openly about business freedom and guaranteeing artists don't get exploited. That foundation adds another dimension to why his reaction held genuine significance. He wasn't responding just as Jim Jones's partner or as 50's opposition. He was responding as somebody who understands what it requires to construct something from nothing and how intimidating it feels when somebody publicly hints they can snatch it from you. There's also a generational dimension to this scenario. 50 Cent originates from an era where public dominance was survival. You couldn't appear vulnerable, quiet, or uncertain, and every response had to be razor sharp and firm. Jim Jones and Mano function in a slightly separate arena now. Dialogue, commentary, and platforms represent the brand, and that contrast in strategy is precisely why this moment landed the method it did. Those two universes crashed in this moment, and Camron positioned himself dead center, responding in a method that demonstrated he comprehends both periods. His response mirrored understanding of old-school survival guidelines and today's platform-focused mentality. Simultaneously, another crucial element of this scenario was how rapidly supporters selected teams. Some immediately celebrated 50, labeling it a boss maneuver and claiming he positioned everybody in their spot. Others felt it was excessive and disrespectful, particularly toward people who contributed to building the culture. Camron's reaction established space for a center position. It allowed people to recognize the remark was impactful without acting like it was innocent. That equilibrium counted more than noisy celebration or immediate fury. The response also demonstrated genuine discipline, which is uncommon in situations like this. Cam didn't amplify with warnings or insults, and he didn't inject additional turmoil. He allowed the significance of 50's words communicate for themselves. That strategy made his reaction more successful because it didn't divert from the genuine problem. It concentrated attention precisely where it required to be, and that's why it landed so precise. This scenario is a notification that not every response requires being noisier than the previous. In a culture where amplification gets compensated with views and engagement, Camron selecting a calmer reaction distinguished itself. It demonstrated development, awareness, and restraint, and that selection transformed how numerous people perceive the scenario around Jim Jones. This moment is also about what gets left behind. Jim Jones has spent years reconstructing his reputation, transitioning from artist to executive to media personality. A remark like 50's tests that advancement publicly, even if nothing ever materializes. The declaration alone compels Jim to protect his standing, and Camron responding signaled backing without transforming it into complete warfare. Mano's contribution shouldn't get disregarded either. As somebody recognized for discussing openly and honestly, Mano has built a reputation for declaring what others won't. That honesty gains appreciation, but it also attracts powerful responses, particularly in situations like this. If you want more genuine breakdowns like this, make sure you subscribe to Hot Tea Daily right now. Share this video, drop your opinions in the comments, smash the like button, and don't forget to click the Hype This Video button to support the channel. Thank you for rocking with us.